Hey, Neek, did I ever tell you what the Suns announcer Gary Bender once said in a January game about Pat Burke, who shot an 18-footer up by 22 with about 4 minutes to go?
Nah, what happened?
He said if he would have hit that shot, he would have been remembered. What's up, y'all? It is May 1st, 2024. I'm Tony Styles. That's my man Unique over here. Let's
What
get
up,
into
though?
this day in NBA history. May 1st, 1970. The Los Angeles Lakers outscored the New York Knicks 22-16 in the highest scoring overtime in NBA playoff history, defeating the Knicks 121-115 in Game 4 of the finals. One, are you surprised that teams in the 1970s were able to put up 22 points in 5 minutes without the three-point shot? And two, are you even more surprised with the influx in scoring and with the increased three-point shot that we haven't been able to have that record beat since?
Um, how many did you say it was? What was the amount of points?
22-16.
No, I'm saying in the span. I thought you said it was a certain amount that was scored in a time frame.
Yeah, in overtime, 22-16 is scoring overtime in NBA history, in NBA Finals history,
Oh gosh, okay. 22.
or NBA playoff history, actually.
I mean, yeah, I mean that is a lot of points to score within 5 minutes. So, am I surprised that it doesn't happen often? Especially with the three pointers. Yeah, kind of. But it also seems like by the time we make it to overtime with a lot of these teams, they're pretty gassed. They're pretty much out of juice. So I think that has a lot to do with why we don't see as many points, even though players are better shooters these days. They still, it still takes energy to get that ball up. You still got to have some juice left in the tank. So I think what's happening is they're getting to overtime, but at the same time, they're just too gassed to actually convert. They're too gassed to score these days.
Well, what about the
So
pushback of people are now in better shape, better conditioning, better eating, better nutrition, better sleep, better all that?
I don't know that I necessarily agree that they're in better shape. The reason I say that is because you see players nowadays, even though the nutrition part is true, you feel me, even the training part, yes. So this should equate to players being in better condition, but not necessarily, because what you're also seeing, even with that taken into consideration, you're seeing all of these players that are taking time off. You're seeing all of these players that are missing whole seasons over injuries where back in the day, you're seeing players come back after a couple games, maybe a couple of weeks, few weeks, whereas those same injuries are taking players half a season or maybe even a whole season to get over. So the players should be stronger. They look like on paper they would be stronger, but as far as what we're seeing, we're not seeing the same kind of dedication. Maybe that could be attributed to the money. People don't want to go out there and play when they're not feeling 100% because they don't want to risk getting traded or messing up their contract or their endorsements. I don't know what the deal is, but I do feel like that's part of a factor. But yeah, I mean, working out and training and eating right is not equating to longer seasons for these players.
Well, there you heard it first. Neek with the hot take. Players nowadays are pussies, and that was stay in NBA history. Right. Before we get into it tonight, you want to talk anything about the playoffs that you seeing or anything like that? We got a happy Wednesday from Daniel.
What up, though?
Happy Wednesday to you as well. Uh, so let's go with that. You want to talk about the playoffs today? You want to get right into it? Do you see Miami lose right now? They went out. Celtics moving on.
Not surprised. I mean, there was only so much Miami was going to be able to do shorthanded against the Celtics, so it's not a surprise. I mean, I already expected Boston to go far this season, so that's not a shock. I'm actually kind of upset about Cleveland. I feel like a hater, but I do not want Cleveland to beat Orlando, and it's not even because I'm an Orlando fan or nothing like that. I don't know. Cleveland. I was never a Cleveland fan. I just don't like seeing them. I sound like a hater, but it's real.
Well, I want to let you know I've been talking with Sidney Lowe, assistant coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I want you to tell him how you feel about Cleveland whenever we can get him on the pod. Tell him that you are not a Cleveland fan.
I mean, in my defense, though, you feel me? I did grow up in Chicago before I came here, so never liked Cleveland based on that. And then, given the fact that LeBron had to go up against players that I love, like Rose, LeBron's having to go up against players like Steph, another one that I love. So yeah, I just got a disdain for Cleveland in general.
Hey, no doubt. Cleveland is obviously not a very popular city, I guess, from comments that people have made or whatever. I've never been, so, I can't speak on it one way or another. But, they always had a problem attracting free agents and things like that. But I don't know. I always looked at it like if I was a basketball player, I mean, I wouldn't really care where I went as, in a major city, everywhere. And especially if I got money doing what I like, what's it matter where I'm at?
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I don't think that there's a team necessarily that I wouldn't play for. I mean, if they're going to pay me to get out there, and plus basketball, it's a fun thing. That's one of the funnest jobs you could possibly have if you don't look at it as a job. You get paid to just go out there and have fun. Anyway, the point I'm making, though, is if you're going to pay me to play basketball, I'll suit up anywhere.
Right.
I ain't gotta like the team. I ain't gotta like my players. I ain't gotta like the coach. Whatever. If you're gonna pay me to show up, I'll be there.
Cam says when LeBron goes to the Warriors, you lose that Cleveland hate.
You know what's funny about that? I don't think so because I don't actually hate LeBron, but I just don't like Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of rooting for LeBron this season. For the record, like I wanted LA to win.
You've been to Columbus, right? Have you been to Cleveland?
I've been to Columbus. I've never been to Cleveland.
But didn't you say you like Columbus, though, right?
I love Columbus. Yeah, Columbus is dope. Good weather. The people are pretty nice. Yeah, I liked it. There is nothing like Cleveland. I've never been in Cleveland, but from what I hear from the people that live in Columbus, it's nothing like Cleveland.
Maybe so. You got any predictions for the Mavs and Clippers before we get into it?
Say it again.
You got any predictions for the Mavs and Clippers before we get into it?
Well, I'm going for the Mavs. I predicted the Mavs was going to win. I think I predicted them in 6. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Or maybe. But I do. I mean,
still mathematically possible.
Still mathematically possible. Yeah, my prediction is the Mavs. They got a tough unit to go up against, but I feel as though now Luka's like gelling. I feel as though, I mean, it's not just on Luka, obviously, but I definitely feel as though Dallas, for me, has the better player, and I feel as though Dallas actually has the better 2 players. It could be argued, but my money is on Kyrie and Luka still. I don't count them out yet. And obviously with the series being tied, you can't count them out. But I'm just saying, as far as a lot of people are looking at them as the underdog, given they're going up against such a stacked team, and my money is still on them.
Want to address this? Yeah, I did see that they claimed that, and that's all I saw. I just saw a headline. I didn't read any more into it or whatever. But I don't know what's going to happen with the fight.
I heard that too. That's wild. Seems dangerous.
I don't know, bro. I'm one of those people. I'll be honest with you. I'm in the minority of this, and whatever. I'm all for PEDs. I am all for. I think they should allow everybody to take them. Watch this for entertainment and sport. You know what I mean? And you should go nuts. Go ahead if that's what y'all want to do. Then that's what y'all want to do. And then we can eliminate the cheating. For example, if I'm on PEDs, I'm gonna get me in the league over somebody. Get me in the league over somebody else that has more talent than me if they're on it and all that. And I got news for you. A lot of ways they're doing these PEDs now. Like, I mean, it's not nearly like it was, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah. That's fair.
So I don't know. According to this, Ryan says it's cap. Wait a minute. PD saved MLB. That's it. I'm gonna tell you why. Real quick before we get into it. I'm gonna tell you why baseball is boring and it's gone down into ratings over time, because in the 50s, the three most popular sports in this country was baseball, boxing. Can you guess the other one?
Baseball, boxing. Shit. Baseball, boxing. What else is there? Don't tell me tennis.
Horse racing.
I should have known that. I should have known that.
So, anyways, but the reason why baseball's gone down is because now that we have more entertainment, more dopamine, more all that, more other sports, it's because the defense has the ball. And when the defense has the ball, why wouldn't they hold on to the ball? That's why they had to add that pitch clock and all that to speed up the game, because that is why. I'm gonna be honest with you. I grew up in the Phoenix city, so I got to go baseball over hockey because I didn't watch it at all. Hockey's probably a more fast-paced sport, you know.
Hold
But
on,
yeah,
hold
I
on,
was
hold on,
never
hold
got
on.
into hockey. I do watch playoff baseball. What's up?
Let me say this real quick. How weird is it that we had a hockey team in Phoenix? We don't even get snow. We got a hockey team. We barely even get a winter. For anybody that's never been in Phoenix, let me tell you this. Our winters are like, what, maybe 40 degrees as a low? As a high, our
No,
winters still are like,
well, I was going to say our lows really is there's a couple times a year it'll get into 20s, at night, at the coldest part of the night.
at night
And
though.
then,
I'm talking about throughout the
right,
day.
right, right. Oh, throughout the day is a different
While
story, but I
people are
would say,
active.
yeah.
I'm talking about while people are outside. Yeah, and
Okay.
he's right. He's right. Like if for what he's talking about, he's referring to like between like 2 and like 4 a.m. That's when it gets to be about that cold. And typically around like 3 to like probably like 5 or something like that is when it's
The
that
sun comes
cold.
up. The sun starts coming up at 7, 8. Sun comes up around then. So when the sun starts, it obviously starts getting warmer. But yeah, it always gets coldest before the dawn because it has all.
Yeah, but yeah,
But yeah,
it's warm out
we got
here.
a 5-month summer. We have a 5-month summer. It's May 1st, so May through September. It's just hot 24/7. So, but anyways, though, let's get into it. You got any arguable? Wait, you got any honorable
Arguable
mentions? Not
mentions.
arguable. Yeah, honorable mentions. They want to talk about who's the best two
um,
guard in the league.
who's what?
With who's the best two guard in the league with the uncommon spelling of Gaurd.
Ooh, that's two guard.
I mean, it's got to be SGA, right?
That's what I'm thinking, but I was trying to think: is there somebody with an argument against him? Because that's like, with him being an MVP candidate, of course he's going to be the one most people think. But I'm trying to think, like, I'm thinking outside of him. Um, nah, I mean, it has to be him at this point. He's scoring the most as a shooting guard. He's his team success, is where it's at. Yeah. So for one, he's getting the individual accolades this year and he's seeing the team success. Yeah, in my opinion, he's probably doing the most as far as the shooting guards go. So my money is on Shea.
I mean, even though they list him as point guard, he's clearly a two. If you want to go classic twos, then I guess Devin Booker. I mean, Kyrie plays the two as well, so there's an argument, But yeah, Shea is like, I know he starts as point guard or whatever, but he is definitely he's definitely more a two guard. He just plays point or whatever. And nowadays too, with more positionless basketball, like I said, Luka, everything about Luka screams he's a small forward, but he plays point. Because it's so much position combo, all that as well.
Yeah, very, very true.
So,
Damn.
anyways, you got any honorable mentions for 6 men of the year?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I just want to make sure I got my so because this is an honorable mention, it's not going to be for a specific year. Plus, this player did not actually get 6 man of the year. However, his
Right.
contributions, his contributions, and for me, most of the people that I picked did actually get six man. I'm throwing that out there. But the player that I'm looking at is
Yeah.
Iguodala. I'm looking at Iguodala from 2014 until 2017. Now, what stands out to me about Iguodala is the fact that he was able to get an MVP playing as pretty much like, I mean, what option would he have been considered offensively? I mean, he was way down, maybe fourth or fifth option offensively, maybe even sixth offensively, but his lockdown defense, it's the fact that Andre Iguodala was able to get you stops when you needed stops. He was also
Hmm.
able to get you buckets when you needed buckets. He's not a pure shooter or anything like that. His points come more so from his athleticism as well as his defense. You feel me? He's a very athletic specimen. So when it comes to locking up players, whether you're a point guard or a center, and I'm not saying he's locking up all centers, but I'm saying he had the ability to stretch from the 1 to the 5 and give some good contests. So for me, given what Andre Iguodala was doing, like I said, from 2014 to 2017, not being the star, not being starter, but being able to contribute the way he did and be very impactful like he was, that's
Hmm.
why I'm going with Iggy.
I got you. One of my ones is I got to go with David Lee from '07. Nobody really remembers that season. He didn't win it that year, but he was 11 and 10 off the bench at 60% shooting. If the Knicks probably
Mm,
would have won more, he probably would have got that. So David, I mean that's pretty good. A double double off the bench, 60 at a 60% clip. So you're doing it efficiently as well. So
yeah.
there's an honorable mention. Who else you got? What's another honorable mention you got?
All right. Gotta look up the year. Another one didn't get six man. Let me double check exactly what year it was. And I'm thinking of Rose when he was playing with Minnesota. Hold on, my bad.
Well,
So
I'll tell you another one too. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say another one is, and he was voted, and and I think they changed the rule after this, but he was still in it because he didn't start a majority, not the majority. He didn't start about half the season. He started a little more than he did, but that's why he's an honorable mention since the new rules are, you have to come off the bench more. But he was in the
Mm-hmm.
voting as well. Clyde Drexler's '85 season, his second year in the league. He was 17, 6 and 6, 2 steals, a block off the bench, 49% from the field. Where you really started seeing why Portland chose Bowie over Jordan. They thought they had a lock, so they had the two guard, the wingman, and the center. But yeah, his season that was really good. 17, 6 and 6 off the bench with 2 steals and a block is pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
honorable mention there, but he started more than he came off. So,
I feel that. I did find what I was looking for as far as Rose goes. So the season that I was looking for was 2019, 2018 and 2019. Now, the reason why I picked that is because I remember vaguely that time where it just looked like Rose was really about to get MVP. I mean, not MVP. He was going to get six man. He was giving you that season just for the regular season, 18 a game. Um, about 4 assists a game, about 2 rebounds a game. He was shooting, I mean, the three, he was only shooting 37%, but at the same time, Rose isn't really a
that's great
high
for
volume three
Rose.
point. Right, he's not a high volume 3 point shooter like that, and that was another thing because when I was watching, it really did look like Rose. Even I mean, the percentages said, but it really looked like Rose was good for one out of every three. Like it really looked like he wasn't missing three in a row. Now I'm sure he did, but when I was watching him play, like that's what I was seeing. It was just like he was very clutch for that organization when he was playing for that little team when they had who Wiggs, they had a little stacked team after Levine had
Hmm.
left, but Rose had really come in. Like I said, he's scoring 18, which is that's typical of Rose. Rose is good for when he's playing well or when he's not injured. He's good for about 18 to 26. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though he was playing like a starter, but he wasn't getting the minutes. And, I think he was only getting about 27 minutes a game, but he's giving you 18 points with that 27 minutes. Like I said, he's also giving you 4 assists in that time. Shooting at the 37% from the three in front of field, he was shooting 48%. So he's almost 50%. So basically, what I'm saying is that season, Rose was almost 50% from the field, and he was hitting like 1 out of every 3, and he was clutch. So that's why Rose is an honorable mention, even though he did not actually get the award.
I feel you on that. I got another honorable mention. Bill Walton in '86. The
He's
the
on my list.
stats are really showing his impact. Oh, he's on your top 10 list.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Okay, no. We'll save him top 10, and then I'll go into what we got. Another one is I got Cliff Robinson in '93. Is he on your list?
No.
Oh, you ain't got Uncle Cliffy?
Nah, I don't actually.
Okay, well, Uncle Cliffy, he's an honorable mention. The team wasn't that good, but he was 19 and 7 off the bench, 47% from the field. Free throws wasn't really there. He was never really a rebound, 2 blocks a game. Cliff Robinson would be crazy. He'd have more. Some games he'd have more blocks than rebounds. Was never really a good rebounder and all that, but awesome, one of the awesome stretch guys and all that. So yeah, shout out to Cliff Robinson as well. Let's get into your top 10, man, and we'll see who's else, and we'll go through some honorable mentions and stuff if we're missing anybody or anything like that as well. We'll go to yeah, we got time. So who you got? Who you got coming in at number 10?
Okay. So for my number 10, this is very difficult for me because it can go either way. It can my number 10 and number 9, they can be exchanged. I really don't care which way, but sake of the exercise, I'm going with Lou Williams as my number 10. Lemon Pepper Lou. The reason I'm going with
Which
Lou,
year?
which season?
18 or
So
19?
I'm going with 18.
Okay.
In 18, Lou Williams is giving you 22.6 points a game,
Mm-hmm.
1.1 steals. He's giving you a steal a game. He's giving you about 5 assists, about 2 boards.
Yeah.
His 3-point percentage was only at about 36%. He's shooting about 43 from the field. That was just regular season. Move over to the playoffs. He's still doing pretty much the same stuff in the playoffs. He's giving you 21 points a game, but he actually boosted his assists to 7. Rebounds are still about the same at 2.8. Free throws, he's a good free throw shooter. He's giving you about 82% from the free throw. His 3-pointer shot, it went down slightly. He dropped down to 33, and then his field goal is still at 43. So yeah, Lou Williams. What we were saying with Lou Williams is a player that, and I guess that's the purpose of being a 6-man, is somebody that could be a starter. They just don't get the minutes. That's exactly what Lou Williams was. He was playing like he should have been in that starting lineup, especially when you got somebody coming off the bench giving you 22 points, or 21 points even. So what we were saying with Lou Williams is a talented player that, like I said, was their reserve. He was the star of their second unit, and plus he was playing for that very stacked team. He played for a couple stacked teams actually.
Well, see, that's what's crazy. He really took off because if you remember, that's the year Chris Paul went to the Rockets. You know what I mean? So he really took over ball handling duty, point guard responsibilities down the stretch. If you remember, the next year he had another good year. Statistically, not as good, but you remember that Warriors series? That was a prominent one. I mean, it was him and Harrell with that pick and roll 2 bench guys. And I remember that year they were having an argument. They were probably the top 2 dudes for 6-man of the year, and that was their go-to punch down the stretch with the Warriors.
Yeah, he was a problem. He was a problem for real.
He is.
I hated going against the Clippers. I hated the Clippers, and I hated Houston during that time. But my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, shout out to Williams. Come on the pod. We can talk about the shit you were talking to me years ago on whatchamacallit, on Instagram and all that.
Lou Williams? Word? I didn't even know Lou Williams had an attitude like that. Lou Williams was always cool and laid back. I didn't even know I didn't know. Lou be running his mouth.
Well, no, what happened was so he got caught up with the COVID thing. Like he went out to like a wing spot and then got COVID or something like that.
Lemon
So
pepper
I hit him up.
Lou.
Right. So I hit him up and I was like, bro, yo, man, I said, I'll be your runner, dog. Just let me know. This way you ain't got to worry about shit like this. Hit me up. So I had, and he had to go. Well, here's what's crazy. He had to go to my profile and Instagram this out. So in my profile, I had one of my lyrics up on there, from a song.
Mhm.
And the lyrics said something like, it's T Styles, the lyrical rapist, your girl's favorite rapper, check her playlist. And Lou was like, why would I get with you? You're an admitted rapist. So that was the shit he was talking to me.
I mean, all right. I don't know if that counts as shit talking. I mean, you did put that out there, and him not knowing you, he's like,
Well,
yo, who Joseph?
a lyric. Well, you could see it rhymes. So, and then you could see music videos up underneath. You could see the link to songs. You can see a bunch of things. So it's not like that. But
Fair enough.
but so if he would have
enough.
said you're an admitted lyrical, if he would have said you're an admitted lyrical rapist, that would have been completely different. You know what I mean?
Bro, I can't.
So that's
Fair
completely
enough. That's
different.
cool.
Okay, who you got coming in at number 9?
We're going through mine. All right. So my number
We're
9,
going
like I
just
was
through yours.
saying, he could have been changed. My number 9, I'm going with Jamal Crawford. I'm going with Jamal Crawford. Now, I had 2 seasons. I was torn between. I settled on Jamal Crawford in 2010.
With Atlanta.
Yeah. Now, 2010, Jamal Crawford is averaging for the season 18 points, 3 assists, 2.5 rebounds. He's shooting 38% from the 3. He's shooting 44 from the field total. But in the playoffs, he's still giving you, I mean, he dropped a little bit, but he's still giving you 16 a game. The assists slightly dropped down to 2.7 instead of the 3. Rebounds is still at about 2 rebounds a game. His free throws, he's a good free throw shooter. He's at about 84%. 3-pointers, he's about 36%. Jamal Crawford is actually a player that gives you a lot of 4-point plays as well. He was like the king of that for a minute. A lot of that started around this time, or was going on around this time, I should say. My bad. Even though his field goal percentage in the playoffs wasn't that great, it's still the playoffs. He's only playing so many games versus a full season. So yeah, Jamal Crawford is coming in at my number 9.
See, I would have gone with 2014 Jamal Crawford over it, just because the Clippers had more success as a team, and he was more contributing to a better winning one. But Jamal Crawford,
Yeah,
any year off the bench, awesome. I mean, I was at the game. He dropped 50 for the Suns.
And you know what? Just so you know, like the only reason I did not go with, because I was torn between 2010 and 2014, but the reason I settled on 2010 is because he had less help in Atlanta than he did in LA. So that's the reason why.
Also, too, he was more efficient. I remember he shot better that year as well. So, I mean, like, I can't knock it if you're choosing 2010. I was just going with the winning formula as well. And
Sure.
I don't know if it was that season, but what's the best alley-oop you've ever seen?
You talking about, all right, so the alley-oop that comes to mind for me is the between the legs when he threw it up to, who was it? Was it Blake or was it
Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin.
It was Blake. It was Blake. I couldn't remember, because they was Lob City for real. Blake and Jordan used to get all kind of lobs. But yeah, that one. Through the legs to Blake. But I like that.
But he did a windmill with it too, so it was doubly effective. So he did between the legs, and then Blake did the windmill dunk as well. So best alley-oop I've ever seen. Also, too, I always argue this: Jamal Crawford has the best behind-the-back dribble of all time. It's not up for debate. When everybody talks about Kyrie handles, I'm always upset that they never ever bring in Jamal Crawford. And when he played all those years, nobody ever talked about him having the best handles of all time. He definitely has the best behind the back dribble. If you ever watch a Jamal Crawford mix, just watch. I mean, it'll show a bunch of crossovers he does all behind the back. If there was a one-on-one tournament, that dude would go very far. I know that there's a lot of like Kobe and Jordan lovers. I could see Jamal Crawford beating Kobe and Jordan one-on-one. Doesn't mean he will, but I definitely see it.
we never had that conversation about Jamal Crawford handles. We never talked about that. I know I talked about it with my cousin, and this is when everybody was saying Kyrie, and we were trying to figure out who the top 5 were. I thought you and I had that conversation. I guess not, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because I was letting my cousin know, because he didn't know that Jamal Crawford handles was lethal like that, and I was letting him know, like, for me, I was saying that it was between Kyrie, Steph, Chris, Crawford, and Rose, and he was just like, nah, bro. He was like, I ain't seen Jamal Crawford do nothing. And really, Rose is just more so quick. It wasn't. I mean, Rose can finish with either hand, but the point is, I was just like, Jamal Crawford, you sleeping on him. Jamal Crawford handles are nasty, like some of the best handles in the league ever, like just period. But yeah, I say that to say I've
Well,
always seen Jamal.
I'm talking about from media love though too. I'm just saying, like, they always talk about Kyrie, Steph. I don't ever remember the media. And generally speaking, like you said, your cousin, he didn't even know about Jamal Crawford's handles. I'd throw a few more people into that mix of best handles of all time, such as like Isaiah Thomas. That dude had a cold handle, especially the way he was able to dribble about an inch off the floor. Timmy had a cold handle. I'll tell you, he's got another cold handle. He doesn't get any credit. And when you think about it like this,
Rod?
then you can think about how good his handle was. No, not Rod Strickland. Rod Strickland did have a good handle, but that's what I'm talking about. Steve Nash. And the reason why I said Steve Nash is because you look at like Iverson, Rose, they had that lateral speed, right? Nash didn't have any advantages. He wasn't faster than anybody. He wasn't had the lateral movement. He didn't have the size, and he was still crossing people. You know what I mean? And that was all skill. It wasn't athleticism. Don't get me wrong. He is athletic to make the NBA, but compared to the other athletes in the NBA, he was on the bottom end.
And you know what, though? Nash is quick, though. So it's the weirdest thing, because he's not fast as far as sprinting and running, but he's quick as far as how he moves the ball. Like, if you notice, it's difficult to steal from him because his crossover is just so quick. Even if, like...
Would you say... Well, I would say... I wouldn't say quick. I would say elusive.
Okay.
Difficult to find, hard to catch, hard to find, the very definition.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of like Larry Blurd. Remember when I sent you that video of Larry Blurd? That dude too slow for the defense. Right, and he's moving at the speed of molasses. Same thing with Luka right now. He moves at his own speed, and, it's that elusiveness. But he's also got a bigger body than most people, especially at the point guard position. Right. So he has that advantage. Nash didn't have any of those advantages. That's why I always argue that Nash, I tell everybody this, when they talk about skill, I go, well, you got to, I think you go Nash, look at the career he made. He didn't have any athletic feats over anybody. He did it all with skill. So even when you think of someone like a Reggie Miller, 6'7" is tall for a two guard. Nash didn't really have those advantages.
Yeah, that's real. I give you that.
So who you got number 8?
Now, my number 8 is somebody that only made your honorable mention list. I'm going with 86, Bill Walton. Even though Bill only gave us 7 points in both the playoffs and the regular season, let me just run down his numbers. So Walton is crazy. He was only giving you 7.6 points, 1 block a game, 2 assists, about 6 rebounds, shooting at 71% from the free throw, 56% from the field, but he's only playing 19.3 minutes though. So that's like playing 19 minutes, and then you get 6-man, you get the first overall vote. I mean, not first overall vote, but you get ranked number 1 for 6-man. You're only playing 19 minutes. Like that's crazy contribution as far as for your team success, I'll say. Even in
I was gonna say in the comments. I was gonna say in the comments though. In the comments, let us know who you guys think too. You know what I mean? Drop your guys' opinions as well. But no, I'm with you on the Walton thing. Walton things is the advanced metrics of him being on the floor versus not being on the floor. What he really meant to that team in terms of winning. He really galvanized. He really gelled. They ran him at the high post, the cuts, the passing, especially with guys like him and Bird. just was crazy. And then like they could run like a Parrish, Walton, McHale, three, almost 7-footers, at that. And then, they could do Bird, Walton, Parrish, Bird, Walton, McHale. I mean, there's just so many different combos they could do with those 4 guys. And like I said, it was never about scoring or rebounding or anything like that. It was all about just winning, and just what can I do, contribute winning, and all that. And it just looked like they were really galvanized that season as well. Also, too, I remember Walton in one game, he had like 6 blocks in like 16 minutes or something like that in one of those games. So, I mean, if he would have played the full 48, that was on pace for 21 blocks for the game. So,
That's nuts.
I mean, right, so he probably could have the record had he played more, but yeah, it's just I get it. It's not so much the stats, it's what he did for the winning. 'Cause some of those things, it's the intangibles that you can't quite quantify and all that. So I mean, that's why I had honorable mention. Like I said, the stats were low. So that's why I wanted to give him an honorable mention on it. But yeah, if you have him in your top 10 because of the winning and what he did for that, totally get that.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh, we got that.
Right.
Number 7 for us?
I do have a number 7. Now another one that has me really torn. Oh, I just looked at the time. Let me get through this. All right. So my number 7. Most people would probably go with the. All right. Let me quit. I'm gonna go with the title, Jason Terry. Now, what happened with me is I got torn between did I want to go with the 09 Jason Terry or the 2011 Jason Terry. He did get the 6th man in 09. Well deserved. He averaged 19 points a game, giving you a steal a game, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. But I went for my list at my number 7. I'm going with Jason Terry in 2011. The reason I'm going with him in 2011 is because even though he did not get 6th man, he did finish 2nd in voting. And his contributions in the playoffs, him being the 2nd leading scorer or their go-to as far as when Dirk wasn't scoring or when Dirk was, I want to say locked up, but when they needed somebody other than Dirk to attack, Jason Terry was the one who came through most of the time. Jason Terry in the playoffs is giving you 17.5 that season, 1.2 steals, 3.2 assists, 1.9 rebounds. He's also shooting 44% from 3, 47.8 from the field, giving you 84% from free throws. So he was pretty effective all around, especially from the free throw and 3. So yeah, I went with Jason Terry based on his contributions in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I get it. Jason Terry was amazing. They were able to get deep, penetrate the D, kick it out to their bigs. We've seen the clip and all that. Yeah, the Jet was awesome. Me and you had this conversation. I remember here. I could definitely see Jet getting hot for like 4 to 7 games and winning a Finals MVP. I don't think he was scared in the moment. So yeah, I got no problem with Jason Terry being up there. I think he was a big time. Not a big time, but I think he was ready for the moment playoff performer. I don't
Very
really
much
remember
so,
so
yeah.
many clutch performance, but like from what I do remember is I never remember him being scared, willing to take the shot, things like that. So yeah, shout out to
And
Jet on that one.
He didn't
No, he
care who
didn't
they
care.
was up against. Him, his headband, and his high socks, they stayed ready.
He definitely did that.
All right, my bad.
No,
All right,
no, it's
so
cool.
that was
Who
my
else?
number
Who
7.
you got for 6?
All right, for
You
number
got for
6,
6.
I'm going with let me speed through this. I'm going with James Harden from the 2012 season. James Harden in both the playoffs
Okay.
and the regular season is giving you about 16 points a game, also about 1 steal and 3 assists. His 4 rebounds turned to 5 when he went to the playoffs. Still shooting above 80% from free throw. His threes jumped from 39 in the regular season to 41 in the playoffs. That's definitely something you want, a player that's going to hit more threes or a better percentage in the playoffs, I should say. Field goal percentage throughout the season, he was 49 during the season. He was 43 in the playoffs. So going with James Harden, he was a good player when he played alone. He's still a good player, don't get me wrong, but when he played alongside Russ and Durant, had that team stayed together, we may have possibly seen some titles. You feel me? Westbrook and Harden both might have a ring had they stayed in OKC. And then you see what happened after this season that I'm speaking of, you see him jump from being a sixth man to being in a discussion of MVPs. We see a drastic change in his points the following season. So I say that to say this season, James Harden is showing the league that I'm ready. He's showing the league that I'm coming. I'm a storm that's calm right now, but it's brewing and it's coming. So yeah, I got James Harden at number 6 from 2012.
I got you. Who you got? Who you got number 5?
My number 5. I'm going with Tony Kukoc of 96. Now,
Okay.
Tony Kukoc was only given 13. I'm not saying that like 13 points is not good, but Tony Kukoc, as far as the team that he played for, this is a dynasty Bulls team that he was playing for. This is a Bulls team that's breaking records. This is a Bulls team where he's playing alongside the likes of Jordan, Pittman, Rodman, Ron Harper. Like I said, he gave us 13, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, shooting at 49% from the field. And that's the thing about Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc is one of those players who, I don't want to say like Dirk. He's not Dirk, but he's definitely one of those players who is tall, can shoot the ball, but can also handle the ball and can also distribute the ball. So those were Tony Kukoc's strengths. The fact that his style of play, it worked. He can put Tony Kukoc in anywhere, and he's going to be effective. So I'm going with Tony Kukoc
Well, you know,
from 90.
well, here's why Tony. I think here's why Tony Kukoc was so effective. Steve Kerr once told a story about Tony Kukoc, and I forget what it was, but they're having like a pregame meal or something like that. And I'll make this up because I don't remember what exactly they ate, but it was something like Steve Kerr was eating like some sushi or something like something light or whatever, give him a little protein or whatever, but nothing too heavy. He said he watches Tony Kukoc eat like a big bowl of pasta, you know, like a chocolate chip cake, you know, like a bunch of wine, a steak, a burger, you know, just all that. He's like, Tony, how do you eat all this and then still play? He goes, oh, it's what we always do in Europe. We eat good, we drink good, we go home, we take a shit, and then we go play. And so, and that's just the rough version, you know, it's something like that. I don't remember exactly verbatim, but that's you know, the general gist of the story. You eat a big meal, you take a shit, you go play, you're good to go, and all that. Who you got coming at number 4?
Okay, it's getting rough for me over here. All right, so my number 4, I am going with this is going to be a shock. I'm going with Kobe. I'm going with Kobe in 98. Even though he did not make sixth man, he did finish second in voting. That season, we're seeing Kobe score 15 again.
My man Woodage. Said it about 30 minutes ago. He got robbed.
Kobe got robbed. Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, see, my man, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I got Kobe coming in. Like I said, he was giving us 15, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, shooting at 42%. Even his 3 was at 34. He kind of fell off in the playoffs a little bit, but at the same time, this is us seeing Kobe come into his own. This is us seeing Kobe ready to take the baton from Eddie and show that, yeah, I can be a starter. So yeah, going with Kobe on the snub.
But he wasn't better than Eddie.
You said he wasn't better?
Yeah, he wasn't not better than Eddie in 98.
Yeah, not yet.
No, wasn't better than Eddie.
He was on his way though.
Yeah, no, I like Kobe that year.
Well, though.
Yeah, no, he definitely. Yeah, he married him well. Yeah, I like Kobe that year. A couple things though that I didn't like is he still had a low field goal percentage. He still had airballing game winners. He and he's been an all-star that year. You know, definitely argument for sixth man. You know, you got a sixth man. I think he definitely should have been the sixth man that year, but he, you know, I just think 15-point a guy game off the bench, who was probably the 4th best player on the team at that point in time, maybe the 3rd. He was the I don't think he was an all-star and all that, but yeah, shout out to Kobe. Big improvement from first year. Anytime you can double your production, you know, from 7 to 15, you know, awesome there. Who you got coming at number 3?
All right, so I'm run through these last 3. All right, so my number 3 I got is deadlift strength. I have deadlift strength for
which one?
91. Now here's the thing. I was torn
Okay.
because Detlef Schrempf was killing it as far as the six man, in my opinion.
I got his
From 90 to
92.
92. That's so funny. I was about to say that from 90 to 92.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm going with 91. That's cool. I get the 92. 91, he's giving us 16 points, 3 assists, 8 rebounds, shooting at 52%. Um, and yeah, I mean, like I said, I was torn between the 91 and 92 season, but I get it. But I'm going with
yeah, no, I
Detlef
like.
Schrempf, I mean.
Well, I was gonna say, 92. He finished 16th in MVP voting, so he was coming off the bench, the 16th most valuable player that year. He was getting you 17 and 10 with 4 assists. I got a funny story. I met Detlef Schrempf one time, right? And
Mhm.
my girlfriend at the time, she spoke languages, and so she's there with me, and it was at the All-Star game or whatever, and she's like, I don't know what she's all excited about, but I was like, oh, the guy over there, he speaks German. Go talk to him. And she ran up and she's like, sign my in German, sign my hand, sign my hand. And then she's like, you speak German? He's like, I was born there. And then I don't know what they said in German because I don't speak German. But and then she had him sign his hand. And she was geeked and she had no idea who this dude was 2 minutes prior. And she was got some guy she did not know who spoke German signed her hand. So that's my personal Detlef Schrempf memory. But yeah, 92 Detlef, I had him on my list as well. But yeah, to be honest with you, so Detlef Schrempf, to me, when I started watching basketball, he was the sixth man. He was the best sixth man in the league. So when I think of sixth man, I think of Detlef Schrempf because that's what I learned. Who you got coming?
All right. So my number two is crazy because my number two is one of, just like you just said about Detlef Schrempf, my number two is somebody that I actually looked at as the stamp, like the epitome of a six man. That's Manu. I'm going with Manu Ginóbili in '08. Now, the reason why I'm going with Manu,
It's on my list.
he's on your list. So the reason why Manu
Oh
is
wait,
not, and we'll get to my number one as far as why Manu's not my number one. But I mean, Manu's giving us 19. He's given, or I'm sorry, 19 points, giving us to steal a game, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. He's shooting at 40% from three that season, 46% from the field. Even in the playoffs, he's giving us 37% from three. So his field goal percentage and his 3-point percentage dropped off a little bit. But like I was saying before, it's less games played in the playoffs. So, you have less time to get your stats up. But Manu, when you're seeing Manu play on that Spurs team any given night, even though he's a sixth man, any given night, Manu is easily, in most of those seasons, your third option. And he's the type of player that can take over games. He's the type of sixth man that can look like your best player out there and often.
mm-hmm.
Now, it's difficult to do that when you got Tim Duncan playing on your team, but you take Tim Duncan away from that team, Manu could have very easily been the best player on that team half of the time he played for them. So, yeah, it's career stats don't show it, but when you watch him play, when you watch the pace, when you watch the style, and plus, Spurs didn't really like superstars like that. He played within that system, and like I said, he was like the epitome of a sixth man.
Low minutes too. That's also affects his stats. But one of my favorite things about him is this. So that 08, 07, 08. So if you would have did per 36, he's 23, 6 and 5 and two steals. Kobe won the MVP that year. I don't know if you knew that or whatever. And for those that did, but he had a higher PER that year than Kobe, who won the MVP. Just to show you how efficient that dude really was that year. So yeah, he was on my list as well. So you got number one, and then I'll go
All
through
right, so
somebody maybe that you don't have.
My number one is probably a shock, but my number one is Kevin McHale of '84.
I got
Now,
McHale
Kevin
85.
McHale. Oh, nice. So with Kevin McHale, we got him at 18 points a game, giving you 7 rebounds, an assist, giving us a block, 55% from field. He was even shooting 33% from the three at that point. I mean, they had a season record of 62-20. They ended up winning the title. Even in the playoffs, he's scoring 14, a block, an assist, 6 rebounds, shooting at 50% from the field. This season, we're seeing Kevin McHale He got 30 points 5 times that season. 20 to 29 points 35 times that season, and 10 to 19 33 times that season. So, mind you, this is the sixth man doing all of this. So, yeah, I got Kevin McHale as my number one sixth man for that particular season.
Yeah, no problem there. I understand why. So I want to talk about. Well, I had 85. His numbers were better across the board, but however, though in 84 they did win the title. So if you want to go that route, sometimes I don't really know. It's kind of like a feel. I do prioritize winning over stats. That's ultimately what for. So that can contribute. What contributes to the wins.
Right.
But sometimes it's like when you got a bunch of titles, like he's got 3, then sometimes I do go with the stat years over the other years or whatever, because like it didn't affect you winning or anything like that. My number one guy is going to be John Havlicek, and then I'll throw in some other honorable mentions that I don't think got brought up. But Havlicek in '69, he was 22, 7, and 5. He didn't become a full-time starter until the next year. He also was now I don't know how many games he started because they didn't keep track back then, but I know he became a full starter the next year, so I'm just going to go with that year. Saying he came off the bench. Yeah, 22, 7, and 5. He second team and All NBA second team. So to have a bench guy being one of the top 10 players in no complaints there. A couple other guys I got doing is that I don't think that I had in my that most people have completely forgot about this guy as well. I got Roy Tarpley in '88. Big Roy, he was 14 and 12 off the bench. He only played 28 minutes. So, that probably, let's see, what would his per 36 be? 14 and 12. Then that puts him at 17 and 15 if he was playing starter minutes back then. And giving you off 17 and 15. Another guy that I have, one of my favorite seasons of all time, is Tracy McGrady in 2000. Tracy McGrady coming off the bench, he was 15, 6, 3, and 2 blocks from a wing player in only 31 minutes. To me, that's always been one of the most impressive stats I ever found. Another impressive stat I've ever found is, speaking of blocks, is Drew Bledsoe. The last year he was with the Clippers before he got traded to the Suns. That dude in 20 minutes as a 6'1" backup point guard, he got a block a game as well.
He's a dog.
Another couple guy. Yeah, no, he's a dog. You got anything to say about Tarpley, Havlicek, or McGrady?
I mean, Havlicek and McGrady, they kind of just go without saying. Tarpley, what's his name?
Tarpley.
Tarpley, yeah. I don't even remember him, so I got nothing to say about him.
Another one that I got that I don't think a lot of people bring up as well is 03 Karolinko. 03 Karolinko, just because he's one of the 5 guys, get you 5 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 5 blocks, 5 steals. He was getting you 12 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, shooting 49%. Really just a crazy utility player. I think Karolinko would do really well in the league now. Shout out to Karolinko's wife too. She allows him to cheat once a year. He says he doesn't take her up on the offer, but I don't know if that's true or not. You got anything to say about Karolinko?
No. I mean, I like Karolinko, but I don't really have much to contribute to say about him that hasn't been said by you. So yeah.
Another guy was Eddie Johnson in '89, who actually won it. He was getting you 22 points in 29 minutes, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, only making 1 3 a game. So I mean, he was almost a point a minute. About 0.75 a minute or whatever.
That's dope.
Yeah, there's some same thing from that year. Xavier McDaniel, he was 21 and 5 too. He talked about it, how he thought he got robbed that year for 6th man. Ricky Pierce is another guy, scoring 23 a game off the bench in 90. Chris Gatling in 97 was like 19 and 8 and an all-star as well. Barbosa, one of the best record, I think the best record in the league in 07, 18 a game in 29 minutes, shooting threes and all that.
Yo, hold on. Let me touch on Pause that all the way. That was not about to come out right. But
Go
let me
ahead.
speak on Barbosa real quick. Barbosa he was like little Speedy Gonzalez meets Mighty Mouse out there. Well, not Mighty Mouse. He wasn't like just strong like that, but he was just all over the
Long.
court.
He was
That too.
long.
Yeah, but he was just all over the court. Like I promise you, whoever had to guard him, that was a nightmare. He was definitely one of those players that probably had you like, here this energetic motherfucker come.
No, I feel you.
Yeah,
You got anything else? I'll tell you some more. I got Enes
no,
Kanter
go ahead.
in 21, 11 and 11 in 24 minutes off the bench. So that means he'd be putting up 22 and 22 if he's getting Wilt minutes as well. I guess now he's Enes Freed as well. What year was that I was thinking of too for 2020 Montrezl Harrell. There's another guy that was really 19 and 7, shooting 58%. Like I said, they were running, him and Lou Williams at the end as well. Tyler Hero in 22. What was he getting? Like 20 a game off the bench as well. Bobby Portis last year had a crazy efficient season coming off the bench as well. That dude was 14 and 10 in 26 minutes, 50% from the field, 37 from three. So Bobby Portis was another one, and those are just all the guys as well. You got anybody else you were thinking about? You want to talk about the ones I brought up?
Well, I have an honorable mention that I didn't mention earlier, and it saddens me to say this, but at the same time, I have to. I gotta give the Knicks some love. I hated them growing up. I hated this player in particular growing up, but because of how much I saw him do damage to my team is why I hated him. So I'm not gonna be a hater. I'm gonna show him love. I'm putting John Starks as an honorable mention. Now, John Starks did eventually get Sixth Man of the Year. It took him up until the 96-97 season to get it, where he was only averaging, or I don't want to say only, where he was averaging 13 points a game. However, back in 92, when he did not get the Sixth Man of the Year, he was averaging the same. He's averaging 13-9 a game. He was really contributing for Ewing. He was a very good second option, even though he's coming off the bench, but he was giving them the points that they needed. Like I said, to assist Ewing. So I'm going with John Starks as an honorable mention from that 91-92 season.
Yeah, no, Starks, if you ever watched him in the 90s, his stats didn't really back it up. But it's like when he scored, it was spectacular. It seemed like he had big games on NBC Sunday games and things like that, so playoff game, because I think his career high is like 19 a game. So yeah, he's one of those guys, when you watched him, you would think the stats would be better than what they were.
Better.
But yeah, he was he's definitely one of the benchmarks of the 90s.
I promise you, bro, I thought John Starks was shooting better than 34% from three. Like it seemed like that boy was always making shots. He was good defensively. He gave Mike and Scotty both some problems. John Starks, I think he dunked on him.
He had a good looking shot. Yeah, well, he dunked on Horace, and then Mike was kind of in the shot. But that's the thing. Horace Grant was the best shot blocker out of the three, so it's better to dunk on Horace than it is Mike. Yeah, John had a good looking form and all that. That's probably why you thought he was better than what he was. I think we all did. But
Cole, I loved him. I hated him at the same time.
and all that. No, yeah. So let's go 0 to 200, and then please like, subscribe, all that to the channel. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sisters, boyfriends, cousins, mother.
Please don't make me laugh with that half-ass gimmick.
Let's go. Here we go.
I'll say we went to 0 to 2 seconds.
Till it's finished, please don't make me laugh with that half-ass gimmick. I'm about to get mine and it's about time. Call us Grindhouse, everybody in a house grind. I'm just doing me, I ain't trying to outshine. Trying to kill my vibe is how you get outline. I don't do it for the views and the likes, boy. I'm just giving you what I wrote last night, boy. I don't care if it isn't what you like, boy. My flow is fucking awesome, ain't it, white boy? Feeling
Oh, yes.
yeah, we will check y'all tomorrow. Until then.